welcome all to the visiting hours. Yours truly, Greg O. Pull up a pew. Let's talk about what's good. It's been an eventful week for yours truly. Recovering from the loss of my job almost exactly 1 week ago. And many doings and goings have unfolded in the last 7 days. I have sold my car. I have confirmed the details of my forthcoming move with my wife, and just kind of dialing in the future. But I feel good. The change feels good. I feel very grateful and very excited. I'm going to get some notifications out. In the future, we'll try to automate these. But today, I'm just going to have to do them manually. So hope you all don't mind bearing with me while I do a few of these. You know, why don't we just show it? Why don't we just show it? Okay. Now let's get some notifications out. Got the Discord here on the left. Haven't used that in a very long time. Gonna let folks know that there is streaming. Should I put this in the lobby or should I put it in a fresh channel? I should put it in like a notifications channel. People can mute. Maybe go live. I like go live, we'll call it that. Create channel. Go live. We'll just put a little everyone going live at twitch.tv/Lazarowitz. And what is the YouTube URL? Okay, that message is now out. There's a new feature on Blue Sky, which I've hardly used, that seems to afford the possibility for marking yourself as live. I'm going to see how that works. Live link, we're enabled for Twitch. Dial that in. Go live for 1 hour. Stream should be about 2. I'll drop my friend Henry a note. Only the best for VIP, Henry. I'm back. People are going to say, "Who are you?" That's fine. Keep things simple. Simple's beautiful. I have X. Let's see if I can get logged into it. It's always a crapshoot. Okay, looking good. I better do this on my other screen, I suppose. I suppose that when I get to the end of the stream, I should have a look at the video and maybe chapter it out. That would make sense, right? Have an introduction, do this little text section, and then we come on back to hopefully the conversation that will begin to form. I have a wonder if this is going to be too early for folks. Move the stream up because without having to work for a living for the time being, I now can spend this very same time streaming. Okay, we're logged in on X. What can we do? Bad news, I'm not verified. Let's put the same post here. Why not? I'm back. Unlock more with X. Don't think I will. Okay. Anywhere else you want to spread the good news? In general, I recognize an opportunity to market things a bit more. I am constantly leery of wearing people out, but I think that it's probably net for the good. Okay. Well, what kind of a week has it been? I confess that when the news finally reached me that my employ was coming to an end, it animated me with a real force. And I immediately got out there, started putting things into action that I've been wondering about for a little while. We locked in some intentions with showing up on the stream, as we're doing here. We kept on going with our new habit of getting up early in the mornings and going for an extremely cold and dark walk to start the day. Although as the days go by, I'm hoping that it will be less cold and dark. And on top of all that, we kept singing, kept making music. Like I mentioned before, sold my car to free myself of an old debt. And started plotting out the next move. My wife and I are going to be making some adjustments to get stable and give ourselves some time for me to find out what's next, get into the next thing. And I think probably very similar to what happened back in the winter of 2022 when I lost my job at that time, and I invested myself in trying to refresh and put some fresh energy into the YouTube, especially. I guess it was mainly the YouTube then, because I wasn't on Substack yet. To put some fresh energy into the YouTube and to some of the other places I'm showing up in the digital world. to maybe help some folks. Figure some things out for myself. Henry, hello. I'm glad that the notification reached you. I was worried that I might be catching you too early and you'd still be asleep. How are you this fine day? Good evening. Why, thank you. Haven't gone to sleep yet. That's easy. Man, I can't remember the last time I was up until sunrise. Solid 3 out of 5? That's pretty good, honestly. A lot of people would love to be a 3 out of 5. Oh, what goes into that? You were deep into some Davos speeches and such just now. Davos is that thing that's going on with all the world political leaders, right? Gotta admit, I'm not super plugged into politics much outside the local level. I try not to be. Davos. Board of Peace. Newsom trolls Trump. Davos is a town in the Swiss Alps within the canton of Graubünden. It's a popular ski resort with a conference center that hosts the annual World Economics Forum. That must be what's going on. Downhill and cross-country ski areas include Jacobshorn, Pischa, Rheinhorn, and Parson. Summer activities, etc., etc. It's the meeting where the world leaders go to. Okay. I suppose it's good that they're meeting. Suppose it's a good thing that they're meeting. So I can adjust my... You think it's kind of sus? Don't you get the sense, Henry, whenever you're like engaging with I don't know, there's something about that whole way of participating in life. It's incredible how personal things that are very impersonal can feel because of our super capability to communicate. And you know, I always have this push-pull inside of me, and my pull is to not involve myself mentally or otherwise with things that are truly outside of what I perceive to be my domains. The places where I'm being called to show up and where I seem to have some usefulness. I think I've been exploring that kind of withdrawal, especially ever since I decided to stop commenting on Reddit. Hey, it's Rel. Hey, Rel. Good to see you, man. How you doing, brother? I saw you're launching a new project. That's pretty cool. Yeah, doing pretty well, all things considered. Actually, doing great. Doing great. I was talking to somebody last night. A bunch of my singing buddies went out to a bar after rehearsal, and we were talking about the adventure of life. And my life's been a little bit of an adventure lately. And my reflection was, it's either life can be, you can receive it either as suffering or as an adventure, and you get to choose. That sounds very cynical when I say it that way. There's more gradient in the choice, of course. Rel, you're all right. Mostly surviving, trying to be creative in spite of it. Mostly surviving. What's going on, man? You not feeling well? Instability in your health, your household? I mean, don't let me dig too deep, especially on Twitch, but it worries me a little bit hearing you talk like that. You know, I continue to wish that cameras can see as well as the human eye could in low light. For the next 5 weeks I'll be here, I'm trying to enjoy the view we got. You're between jobs, desperately trying to avoid going back to the corporate machine. Right. So were you in the corporate machine, or I guess since you left Daybreak, um my perception is that you've been working on your personal projects. In fact, the last time we talked on the podcast, you were talking about that a little bit. I don't know if you've gone back to something since to stabilize, or if you've been really just working the creative angle. Amazon Games for more than a year. Whole project got scuttled last October. That's brutal. That's brutal. What was the vibe working at Amazon Games? Corporate machine. Corporate machine. You know, I've been reading this book called Against the Machine by Paul Kingsnorth. I don't know, it might be a little dramatic in its interpretation of the word machine, but that might be interesting to look at. Here it is. Against the Machine, Paul Kingsnorth. Wrong way. See if I can find it. Meh, most of the people are good. Got to work with a handful of Planet Side 2 folks. That's a delight. But Amazon doesn't want to make games, they want to make money and play politics. Mike got a little quiet. Loose connection. Okay, let's give it a tweak. Also might be mumbling. Cutting in and out. Fine now. Okay. How's that? Yeah, I'm playing around with the mic settings. I'm trying to get it so that I don't have to have the mic is down my throat for it to sound good and for it to be clear. Good. Glad to hear it. So was what drove your perception about Amazon wanting to make play politics and make money instead of games driven by your internal experience, or is that more of an external impression? I mean, probably it's both, right? I'm not even sure what I'm asking there. I'm just curious. trying to find a particular quote. So this book Against the Machine is this fella's attempt to put into words his sense that we're all creeping into some kind of mechanized hell, and to try to figure out what we can do about it. I haven't gotten to the figuring out what we can do about it part yet. And the dedication at the front, it's a quote by Wendell Berry. It says, "It is easy for me to imagine that the next great division of the world will be between people who wish to live as creatures and people who wish to live as machines." Probably boring everybody with this book talk, huh? Just monolith things, you'd think? Is Monolith a game? Company? I apologize, I'm out of the loop. Oh, here's a good quote. uh, the Welsh poet R.S. Thomas, in his poem Other. "I cannot tell you how beautiful the city appeared, and a little terrible. I thought, we have geared the machines and locked all together into interdependence. We have built the great cities, now there is no escape. We have gathered vast populations incapable of free survival, insulated from the strong earth, each person in himself helpless, on all dependent. The circle is closed, and the net is being hauled in. They hardly feel the cords drawing, yet they shine already." Just viewing it as a profit opportunity. Rel, you've seen enough of the machine from the inside, just corporations and being corporations getting in their own way. Henry, instead of building up from will to create like more traditional game studios. Yeah, I mean, I've been involved in corporate tech, never worked in game dev. And my impression is that I actually just saw a YouTube is always randomly recommending me like Elder Scrolls stuff, and I probably because I keep clicking on it, even though I haven't played an Elder Scrolls game in ages. And I saw one where they were quoting a fella who was a really prominent designer on Oblivion and Skyrim, talking about how Bethesda grew from a company where you would like take a long lunch and all go into a room, and you would talk to Todd Howard and the whole crew, and you'd all kind of bang through stuff together. You make decisions, get good input, go forward. But as the company got more successful and grew and started bringing in outside studios, it went to being a situation where you couldn't get in the room with the good decision makers anymore. And in particular, he highlighted that every project suffered for lack of Todd Howard's involvement. Guy likes Todd. But there's something that happens when we scale up, right? Something happens when we scale up. You know, I've already shared this with Henry Rel, and maybe you caught it on the stream earlier, but the big news in my life is I lost my job 1 week ago. And so I'm in the market for new work. Things are okay, stabilized. And my wife and I got a plan for the future. But and part of that plan is almost undoubtedly going to be returning to one tech job or another, um, because that is how my life has grown and how my bills have been paid for over a decade. Um, the ache to the ache to grow into something smaller is becoming more painful as the years go by. Appreciate that, bro. I think things are going to be fine this time. I think I'm actually probably going to get an offer I can't refuse before I'm ready to go back. It's just sort of a hunch. We will see. But I'm going to use this time to also reinvest in all this for a little bit. I'm actually really happy because even though I got laid off, let go last week, there are some really how can I easily say this? Do. I started a bunch of new ideas and new habits and got a bunch of things rolling at the start of the year before the job transition happened. So, as soon as I was let go, I already had these things going and these intentions set. Really proud of myself for making that investment and kind of seeing a bigger picture of what the future might look like. Um, that sounds very vague. So, one of those things is coming back to the stream. I've been doing one a week. This is the third week. Calling it visiting hours for now. I don't know. I couldn't think of another name for it. Really, I'm still getting used to streaming without having a video game between us. But I have a feeling that this format, just sitting and talking, might just be better. It might be harder to get folks to click on it, but as the wilderness writer Edward Abbey once pointed out, growth for the sake of growth is the ideology of a cancer cell. That's a good one. What's the book about? Let me see if I can find the. Let me go get the dust cover. I can read the description to you. One sec. Here it is. Against the Machine. Just quotes. Oh, here we go. A spiritual manual for dissidents in a technological age. A power that we all feel but cannot name is moving across the world. Each week, life seems more monitored, networked, efficient, controlled. Some power merges with tech power. State power merges with tech power as the oceans empty and the culture disintegrates. Some days it can feel as if we are living inside the plot of a mid-20th century dystopian sci-fi novel. Do we control our devices or do they control us? And who, or what, controls them? Welcome to the age of the machine. And against the machine, furiously gifted, the Washington Post. I think that's attributing a quote there. Furiously gifted. Novelist, poet, and essayist Paul Kingsnorth presents a wholly original and terrifying account of the technological, cultural matrix enveloping us all. With masterful insight into the spiritual and economic roots of techno-capitalism, Kingsnorth reveals how the machine in the name of progress has choked Western civilization, is destroying the Earth itself, and is reshaping us in its image. From the first industrial revolution to the rise of artificial intelligence, he shows how the hollowing out of humanity has been a long game, and how your very soul is at stake. It takes effort to remain truly human in the age of the machine. Writing in the tradition of Wendell Berry, Jacques Ellul, and Simone Weil? Ooh, I'm not sure how to say that name. Kingsnorth reminds us what humanity requires: a healthy suspicion of entrenched power, connection to land, nature, and heritage, and deep attention to matters of the spirit. Prophetic, poetic, and erudite, Against the Machine is essential reading for all who would reject progress's Faustian bargain. Could never be us. Yeah, I found this fellow's Substack and really enjoyed the stuff he was writing about. And then one day he's like, I wrote a book, and I was like, holy crap, this guy writes books. So I decided to pick it up. The neat thing about it is he's an essayist, so the book is written as kind of like a series of essays, which makes it pretty easy to read. The thing about it being an essay kind of based format that I like a little less is that the threadedness of what he's presenting is a little more external. He relies really heavily on kind of quoting other writers and on stitching together a whole bunch of ideas. It's almost like he's kind of grabbing and like, okay, this explains. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm feeling. That's the sense that I get. The notion that the machine is inevitable and natural, and that there is no realistic alternative to its reign, is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's also a fiction, one which G.K. Chesterton skewered well when he wrote that its advocates talk as if 10 miners had run a race, and one of them became the Duke of Northumberland. The reality is that machine capitalism did not evolve from small-scale artisan or peasant societies. They had to be deliberately destroyed in order that it might replace them. You have to hop in and out to learn more about the context. You don't have to. It plants a lot of trail markers towards related writing, which I like. I've actually been. I got a book of Wendell Berry's poetry for Christmas that I'm really enjoying. Yeah, I mean, I do. That comment was more about the structure, the way it's presented, and a way that it makes it easy to get into. Like, it's like easy to put down and pick up, I guess, would be a way to describe what I'm trying to get across. And I'm more used to really deep, intense reads than that kind of reading. Well, that's kind of what you want to do nowadays, to be honest. You want to sit in your little hobbit hole and make games and be creative. You want to get a little plot of land, put some tiny little shacks up for housing, just go on adventures in your backyard. That's a beautiful vision. Current deluge of media, policy, tragedy, taxes, it's also tiresome. Well said, brother. Well said. Yeah, it's very easy. And what you're tapping into is very similar to what Kingsnorth taps into throughout this. And I'm only like maybe 40% of the way through, so I still have a good bit to read. And I've slowed down with it because I did a whole bunch of other reading. Actually, you should be able to see these book stacks here. Um, I got a little more work to do my personal review of a couple of these, and then after I do that, I want to do a video talking about the books that I read in 2025. Um, Knowing how long I can be, it might be more of a podcast length video than a video. But while I was focused on those and not reading this, I was starting to say, Rel, that you were tapping into something that Kingsnorth taps into, which is like trying to find the right words. We all feel when the machine grinds us down. It renders itself visible in those moments. But what we don't feel as well is when the machine turns quietly and efficiently and makes our lives transparently easier and better. Like the fact that we're able to have this conversation at all. If I wanted to do something like this without the internet, I'd probably be forced to go hang out at like a university bookstore or something. I'm not really sure how I could do this kind of thing. One of the things that technology has allowed us to do is to form communities of interest that and allow certain interests to gain a certain inertia and momentum that is very hard to take root just in local communities. I'm blessed to live in a city, which means I have access to potentially communities like that. I read I want to talk a little bit more about Kingsnorth's message before I get to talking about a critique that I read about his work that I actually really appreciated. At the same time, you'd think that interests would be more similar within communities without the internet. Yeah, that I'm sure that's true. I'm not saying it's an unalloyed good, only that there's good in it. And I don't know. I mean, if we all had to make our lives and our food by hunting and growing our own food, we'd be more well connected with Earth, but would our lives be better? We are alienated from where our food comes from at the grocery store. And for me, like I'm high enough up in the food chain that I order my meals pre-made and heat them up in the microwave. Afternoon, chaps. Gonna be AFK, but we'll return soon. Look forward to your return, Kai. Welcome, brother. Welcome. Rel, you love the internet and somewhat despise what it's become. I think it's a combination of love and hate that is so worth turning and turning over and turning into. I'm trying to find the chapter, the essay in what I've read of Against the Machine where he really characterizes the way in which the city is a sort of culmination of the machine that he is against. And I'm trying to find that because, I had this... So many rabbit trails. I'm so easily distracted. But I got married a couple months ago, and immediately went out for our honeymoon. So we're living in Seattle, and we're close enough to Victoria, British Columbia, that we were able to just hop on a ferry and get up there in a few hours. So we hopped on the Victoria Clipper and clipped our way up to Victoria. And Victoria is a city too, but it's at the kind of tip of Vancouver Island. And Vancouver is a huge, just, it's like a world unto itself. And it has plenty of wildness in it. And we spent a lot of time exploring that wild. Maybe not as much as I thought we might. We also spent a lot of time in the city, keeping bookstores open. But when we came back from that trip, I remember as we were floating into the port of Seattle on Elliott Bay, this feeling of coming back to like the city. And Victoria is not like a small place. You wouldn't characterize it as a town. It is a city. But there's something about a big city, like a mega city, like a Seattle, like a San Francisco, like a New York, like an Atlanta. There's something about these cities that have an involuntary involvement in the concrete, in the street lights. Somehow there's too many people, but the thing we notice is the physicality of it. At least that's what I felt like I was noticing. And I remember sitting down and reflecting about where I want to be, about the idea of having my hobbit hole in the woods. And really feeling in that moment that I did want that. And I didn't want to be in the city anymore. I didn't want to be in the approach path for an airport. I didn't want to be close to a busy road. I didn't want to be walking distance from a subway. Wanted something outside of it. Bro, you got to take off. Nice seeing me. Congrats on getting married. Thank you, brother. It was really good to see you. Thank you for the meander. And Godspeed to you, Rel. I hope that you're able to make it work and make it happen and get beyond just surviving. I don't know, though. I suspect that the city is a sort of... I don't know. I have a lot of unfocused meanderings of the mind taken off at the moment. I think that there is an extent to which the way that the United States shows up in the world and in the world economy is as a sort of arena of sorts. There's something about the way that our culture is set up that allows the most successful to become as successful as possible, while allowing the least successful to fall. And an arena is a place we go to sharpen and harden ourselves, sort out who is the best, and reward the winners. It all the way up and down to like for me, when I lost my job back in 2022, it was kind of a terrible situation because I had no other health insurance to take advantage of. So I had to choose between going on really crappy marketplace insurance that was going to cost me money, or paying for Cobra. And I did end up paying Cobra for my dependent, uh, for my wife at the time, and that just slayed me. I probably paid almost $10,000, no more than $10,000, in just to have access, just to retain access to medical insurance while I was unemployed in the United States. And but I survived it. And it's only now a few years later, after many lessons learned and a lot of luck, to be honest, where I'm starting to build back up again. But not all societies and cultures let people fall in that way. And that's for the good. It's good that as we develop, as our levels of civilization increase, it's good that we bring more and more people along on the civilizational sort of path. But I think that the way that cities show up here in the whole world, but especially in the United States, is something of an even more specific manifestation of that same arena quality, where the cities are like the arenas within the arena. And when you're in them, you're participating in a naturally competitive thing where you're engaging heavily with the outside world as you would if you were being threatened. And the extent to which you're capable of contending with that outside world rewards you. There still are places in the world that are not so fraught. And I think a lot of the times when you hear Americans, and my lovely wife is one of these, who fantasize about living elsewhere, um, it's sort of a desire to withdraw from the arena. It's a valid desire. It means withdrawing from the possibility of the best, and it means taking a step back from of being a part of the bleeding edge of the story of civilization. But certainly, very few can even be there for truly. I think that my transformation over the last few years has helped me really develop an appreciation of the arena that I live in. And it's not that I figured it all out on my own or did it all myself, far from it, so far from it. But I'm finding the ways in which being in the arena doesn't send me into a quiet, sad, dark place, but animates me and fills me with energy. Oh no, we got spam. Man, that was quite a meander. I wonder if that made any sense to anybody. Henry, when you go to more rural areas and then come back to the city, you notice that people walk much more hastily and pay almost no attention to one another. Even people are more condensed, they become more isolated. That's absolutely the case. The simplest way to make people more friendly is just to put more distance between them. Honestly, distance makes the heart grow fond is a real thing. I know this to be so. Each of the last 3 years, I've had the treat to go back to New England and visit my parents for the holidays, and they live in a very rural place, and folks are nice to each other. Um, I think there's certainly some natural incentives when you're living more outside the machine bubble, where the incentives for cooperation are higher, and the likelihood of collaboration on uh, creating good sort of outcomes with living is higher, but man, the best way to make someone not like you is just to sit next to him all day. Mickey Aspire. Grass is always greener on the other side. Us Europeans have universal health care, but the quality is often very poor. Interesting. Right. And that is the sort of heads and tails nature of I think what I'm feeling out with this idea of the city arena and, you know, first world countries, and in particular the United States as the arena of arenas. I had a medical emergency last month. It was about 6 weeks ago. And I needed to have emergency surgery immediately in order to prevent a chunk of my my small intestines from dying. Very dramatic, right? It wasn't comfortable, I'll tell you. And I tell you, those surgeons were wizards. They were flippin' wizards. I had good health insurance provided by the tech company that I worked for, and I was healed by green wizards who went into me totally painlessly, fixed my problem, made the right decisions, did it all on the fly. Normally, when you're working on someone's stomach, you want to be doing it on an empty stomach. It being an emergency situation, I couldn't pull the pierogies out of me that I had just eaten. So they went in there, they fixed me up, they cut the bad part out, put it all back together, sewed it all up. I woke up, and of course, when you wake up from surgery, you're in a haze. But even the day after and the day after that, I had almost no pain from my abdomen, where they went in and rearranged me and then closed me back up. And the most uncomfortable thing about that recovery was the NG tube that they put into my nose and down into my throat and stomach in order to prevent in order to suck the food out to give my stomach a break from having to digest stuff while everything was healing. That was the most uncomfortable part. And I got home, I was on over-the-counter pain meds for 2 days. Totally off. What the heck happened to my intestines, Nerd says. Well, I just gave you the dramatized account. I can tell you the medical diagnosis. It's a little less fun to talk about that way. But that's like, I'll tell you in a second. By the way, Henry, are you a mod on my Twitch? If you are, would you see about banning the bot that just spammed in there? I think you are. And if you're not, I'll be happy to make you one. Not a mod. Would you like to be? Be helping me out. Okay, let me see. Let me hook that up. But okay, while I'm doing that, I'll answer the question of what happened to me. Rewind. 2019-ish. There's me, Greg, at that time calling myself Deeg. Actually, just months away from starting the Deeg podcast. I'm just starting to figure out my health situation, and I start working with a personal trainer, and he's helping me find some things I can do. I have debilitating, excruciating back pain because I weigh 600 pounds, and there's not a lot that he can guide me through, but he does his best. One of the exercises he gives me, it causes a little lump in my stomach. Now, my stomach is already a big lump, so it's not like immediately noticeable, and it doesn't hurt. But I go and get it checked out and find later that it's an umbilical hernia. The layer of muscle and fascia between my skin and my internal organs just went boop, kind of opened up and created a small hole through which my insides like to explore towards the outsides. So I lived with it for a few years, during which time I went to go. Actually, I went to go see a surgeon pretty soon after realizing this was a problem. I say I was going to make Henry a mob while I was talking, and I've just been talking. I'm not a good multitasker. Okay, Henry. Open, highlight, open native user card, follow, invite, whisper, invite, timeout, ban, mod. There. Okay, done. So I go to a surgeon, and they tell me you have an umbilical hernia. It's something we can fix. The thing we do about it is we open you up, we put a mesh in there to reinforce that layer between your insides and your skin, and then we close you back up, and you're good to go. But you are at a weight, me at the time, that the surgery is, number one, very risky, and number two, the mesh is not likely to stay in place with the level of intra-abdominal pressure for the man the size that I was. So I said, go lose a bunch of weight and come back. So that's what I did. Thank you for bonking, Henry. And by the time I lost all the weight, I lost over 300 pounds. I came back and I just needed to schedule the surgery last year. And then, of course, life got busy. I moved in with my girlfriend. I said, hey, let's get married. And we chose to do that. I say that so clinically, but it was a beautiful thing. And then the most beautiful thing that's ever happened to me, actually. I still haven't gotten the video recording of the wedding. I gotta check on that. Anyway, I got busy and didn't get the surgery scheduled, and then this happened to me. I was just out on a Saturday in December. I was participating in a singing event. I was singing in a caroling competition at Pike Place Market here in Seattle. And after the competition, I was just walking around doing a little bit of holiday shopping at the market. And I started feeling really kind of icky in my hernia. And I know this feeling because it happens to me all the time. And what I do is I just put my hand on it. I go, push it back in. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Most of the time, it's no big deal whatsoever. This time, I couldn't reduce it. And so I took myself home. I got on the bus and went home. I was in the city, so I don't drive into the city. It's very silly to do that. And my plan was to go home and just to try to lay down in my bed and let things relax and eventually reduce it, which I'd done before. I'd gotten stuck before and I'd done this, but I got home and my wife sees me and she's like, yeah, we're going to the emergency room, Buster. And then the wizards did their thing. Was it painful? It was not ambiently painful at all. It only became painful when it became herniated. And really when it was uncomfortable is when there was food passing through and it was herniated. Because, I don't know, everything's sort of like, and it's like kind of caught a little bit and the food's like trying to go through. And I hope you're not sorry you asked, but that's what that was. So the wizards went in and they cut out a little bit of bowel that actually had died. Actually, they didn't say it was dead. They said it was bruised, but that they made the decision to resect it. Stapled my intestines back together. Put it all up in there. Sewed me shut on the inside, then sewed me shut on the outside. And now, in a couple months, I gotta go and get the permanent fix in because I still don't have the mesh, which is actually the permanent fix for the hernia. Right now, things are just sewed up, and even though it's okay for the moment, over the long term, it's not unlikely that it'll re-herniate unless I get some hardware in there. That is the story of uh, my December medical emergency. How exciting it was! But I launched into that because uh, was it Nerd? No, Mickey made a comment about how in Europe there's universal health care, but the quality is often very poor. I can't offer any anecdotes about quality of care over there, but that's an example of the American medical system when it works, working exceptionally well, and it kind of feeds into this idea that I'm feeling through that here in the U.S., even though we have terrible predation and a tremendous amount of people who are outside of the benefits of the arena, the people who are winning in the arena, um, they're doing fine. So it makes it like a battleground of sorts. And you see that in the culture and in the news, and that's why American culture travels everywhere. It's because we're sort of a great experiment to be like, okay, what if we tried to make a culture where the most successful got the most stuff and made all the decisions, and we only paid people for what they could do, not what they deserved, and we tried to just get away with it, and we turned the dial up to 11. What can we do? And it's not like the answer to that is not nothing. Bunga Bunga Man, me sleep it off. Thank you. Thankful the woman of the house said otherwise. Yeah. I totally. I was gonna try to sleep it off. I mean, if it got worse, I would have eventually taken myself in. But right up until they took me under for surgery, I was like, I can still reduce this thing. Let me try again. Well, everyone was looking at me like, is this day one of my campaign for the mayor of Seattle? I've been told that I would make a good politician. I think it's because it's tolerable to listen to me speak. But I don't know if I have the I don't know if I have the cunning to be a politician. You're voting for me. All right. Day one, baby. The grassroots movement begins. Gregor Zarowitz, mayor of Seattle. What's our platform? The platform is Bethesda release Elder Scrolls 6. No, actually, I probably won't play Elder Scrolls 6 when it comes out. Shit, my life has changed so much. Freedom for all. How could you not get behind that? And other vague promises. You know, I'm pretty good at vagary. I think I might be able to pull that message off. It's kind of likely, actually. At least buy the soundtrack and imagine myself playing it. Buy the soundtrack. Soundtrack for what? Sorry, is that a metaphor that I'm not picking up? You know, I should run a political campaign that's entirely obscure quotes from video games. Could I make a political speech using only NPC dialogue from Oblivion, do you think? What are the news from the other provinces? Hey. Kai, you actually do like listening to the soundtracks of games you know you'll never play. I mean, I think you guys can probably hear it, but I have the Oblivion soundtrack playing in the background. I listen to this music all the time. Because even though playing the games for Elder Scrolls has lost its meaning for me, the worlds are still real. Like they're more real to me than a lot of real places. And the music takes you back and takes you into it in such a meaningful way. What are some of your favorite game soundtracks, Kai? I listen to Elder Scrolls. I listen to the Destiny soundtrack a bunch, But now, Destiny is a very dramatic soundtrack. It's not ambient; it's more foreground music. Okay. Yeah, I suppose the first thing if you want to run for mayor of a city is you gotta care about politics, right? Or maybe not care about politics, but you have to have some political expression of a cause you care about. What would that be? See, I think that like for me, my the thing about me is I'm sort of temperamentally inclined to like a more like small government. Um, but it's not because I think the government should be small. It's because I just am more interested in focusing on life's inmost circles. That is the self, a partnership, a family, an extended family, a community. You can spend your whole life just making those things better, and that's plenty. And if everyone did that, then if people, I think it on balance, things would be nicer, and the tools we use to communicate with each other and share with each other would be better to be in if once we developed the civilizational um, kind of antibodies, right? So that we understand that getting drawn into these dialogues, these synthetic dialogues that supposedly span all of us, are we don't have an effect on them, and they don't have a good effect on us. Mickey, you're convinced no sane person decides to become a politician. I think what's the thing they say, like no man who wants to be a politician should be one, but then who becomes one? I think there's a truth to any sort of position that um, provides power with a real potential for harm, where almost anyone who wants it, you need to be suspicious of. Think about politicians. Think about cops. Another good example. Right, I had a buddy in college who always talked about wanting to be a cop, and he did not, and thank goodness. What am I trying to do here? Henry, a lot of politicians also are like board members and such, so you think political positions are a similar type of asset? Kind of mumbled that out. Politicians are like board members, so you think their political positions are just another type of asset. Yeah, I don't know a lot about the theory of politics, but I sort of have this sense that, at least here in the US, that when we started out, we sort of maybe had a notion that politics was not like a career. It wasn't something that somebody did as their vocation. Kind of the same way like in the early Roman Republic, people who fought in the Roman armies were not soldiers, they were citizens. And one of the things that you did as a citizen is you fulfilled your duty by serving as a soldier. And actually, the professionalization of the armies in the late Republic is one of the things that allowed Caesar to cross the Rubicon and completely reform that culture and society and start to remake it into an empire. And there must be a similar story to tell about politicians, but I don't know. Like my sense in every time and place is that politicians have sought power, and I don't know if there's ever actually been a polis of citizen politicians, where politics is sort of an obligation you fulfill, like jury duty, rather than a career or a profession. I think that's one of the key components of the arena that is this country. Too is that um, specialization and professionalization is sort of like um, a key feature of the environment of the arena, where in order to make in order to remake the world in our image, we have to take ourselves and reduce people to their specialization and use them to their maximal benefit. When you do that, we dehumanize them, but we get the most productivity out of them. And that's what we're living in, is a productivity experiment. I lived in Switzerland for a little over a year, over a decade ago, and I was a student, so it was not like I was not like in the working culture there, but I had this strong perception there that people don't engage with work the way that we do here in the US. There's a different sort of attitude about it. It's not as much of a defining pillar of identity. It's actually one of the things I'm struggling with right now, where I've been working so long in technology that my identity is wrapped up in it, but I feel myself drawn. I feel myself drawn to a brighter candle, you know? Kai says to Henry, in Australia, that's where they end up post politics. So there's an incentive for them to spend more time networking with big companies during their political careers. Right. When you're in politics, you make connections, you do favors so that you can land good private positions. The sort of public private um, revolving door. For some reason, I find myself logging into X. I think I'm wanting to see if my stream notification got any notice. I would expect not. This must be listed here as Twitter. Yeah, that's why I can't find it. Well, no notifications. That probably means nobody saw it. That's fine. It's like I haven't been there. Politics for profit over people. It's a real shame. Yeah, I think we make the error, though, of blaming the people, of blaming the politicians. We hate the player instead of the game. Um, I'm not sure how you vote for a different game, I guess. I should talk to my wife about this. She has this sort of protester, activist, uh, um, animating fire within her. She took us out to the No Kings protest a couple weekends back here in Seattle. Um, and that's not a thing I would ever probably take myself to, because I don't feel drawn to that outward expression of opposition. But there's something about it. There's something about saying about a voluntary association with um I don't know. Something about it. Yeah, I don't think we appreciate. Oh, let's pull up politics rant. I think it's no good for the stream. But I think we can all become better citizens by being captains of our lives. And the unlocker for it is very simple, very stupid, and it's just stop paying attention to that stuff. And the thing is, everyone knows. Everyone knows what they're paying attention to and shouldn't be. Everyone knows. It's the obscene privacy of our devices, where we're not accountable to anyone for what we engage with. Whereas if we had to do all of our scrolling on like a public iPad posted like outside the post office, we would be more self-conscious about what people were seeing us do. But because we have these tiny little devices with insane privacy, um, the it's so difficult to be accountable to the angels on our shoulders. It's so difficult. I reinstalled Facebook on my phone because I was trying to sell my car in the marketplace. Um, oh yeah, let's take a few minutes to appreciate my car. Okay, I I sold my car 2 days ago, and I did it because it was kind of a bachelor decision. I kind of wanted to find something that made me feel good, made me feel like the person I wanted to grow into, and especially with losing the job, it made sense to alleviate myself of the burden of it, and to let a car dealership take care of that loan. Hey, I got a couple likes on the Twitter post right when I complained that no one was liking it. So I thank you all for hearing me. If that was one of you. But yeah, let's have a minute to appreciate my car that I just sold. I'm gonna find it. Find the post on the marketplace. I was gonna say see if I can do it without doxing myself, but I basically self-doxed myself in every single way already. So I don't think there's anything you can learn about me here that you don't already know. How can I show the listing? There it is. Okay. Oh yeah, there she is. Hit the wrong button. Never much of a Twitter head. Yeah, me neither. Try not to be. I actually have a fair amount of followers on Twitter, mainly from my time doing the podcast. If I put myself here and then over the chat, well, we'll make this work. So this is the Batmobile. This is the name that my wife came up with for this car. It's a Chrysler 300S, 2023. When I found it, I was trying to find. I wanted a sedan with a big gas engine. That's just what I wanted. I had driven Dodge Challengers for a number of years, at least them, and I wanted something a little more mature than a Challenger, which is a very aggressive looking car. But I didn't want anything that was smaller on the inside. So this car had a bigger engine than my old Challenger, 5.7 liter V8 Hemi, and it felt good. It felt good to drive. Here she is. Um, when I was shopping for her, a very cute salesperson assured me that this would be a great car for me to go on dates in. And it's the car that I drove when I met. See, there's me, waving in the rear view. Put yourself in the car and make car noises. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, I miss it. Okay. Proof that the wheels are in good shape. Check this out. Alright, this is part of the story of this car. I bought it with about 2,000 miles on it used in 2024. It's a 2023 model, so it was basically brand new. And what happened was somebody bought this car, did a whole bunch of mods to it, like added extra window tinting, blacked out the headlights, blacked out the tail lights, blacked out the badges. Oh, my darling wife is calling me. I'm going to pick up the phone and talk to her for a second. She's on the way home from work. Last couple weeks, we streamed in the evening, which meant that when she came home, she was without me. But I moved this by moving the stream up. It means we get to hang out when she gets home from work. So that'll be good. Okay, so I was telling the story about this car. What the seller is doing the photo shoot in an abandoned wharf. I was just driving around trying to find a parking lot with sunlight because I got to like 2:30 in the afternoon and the sun was almost set and I was like, oh my god, I gotta find sun. So I just pulled over into the nearest thing. These are my pictures. This picture is showing one of the mods that the previous owner did, in addition to blacking out the all the badges, all the lights. Did a couple things under the hood. They put these door lights in, these courtesy lights, and replaced them with these logo lights. And yes, that is the logo from the movie 300. And that is the door light for what used to be my car. Story was that the prior owner drove it around for 2,000 miles, and then he had traded in his truck in order to purchase it, and wanted his truck back. So he traded it back in for his truck. Here's the moonroof. Nice leather seats. Yeah, the interior doesn't look as nice on the phone as it does to the eye. Had this weird dial shifter. Is the engine looking good? Anyway, this is an ode to my car. And this is the car that I was driving when I met my wife outside of the dance. And she said, ooh, I know who that is. That's Greg's car. I'm going to wait up for him. And on Good Friday in 2023, she waited up for me outside the dance after I arrived late. She met me outside and put her arms around me. I was still too dumb to figure out that I should ask her out. But I was picking up the hint. I called the car, I don't know, I was trying to find a name for her. I was thinking about calling her Hope because she represented sort of a hope for me, a hope for the future. But as soon as my now wife got in the car, it was very clear that the right name for the car was the Batmobile. So this is and was the Batmobile. It's dope. Thank you, Henry. But yeah, this is the ship canal near the Ballard Locks in Seattle. And this is just a random parking lot. She was a good one. She was a good one. Ah. But yeah, one of the things that the kicks I've kind of been on, it's kind of happened at the end of December, beginning of January, is I started to clue into the fact of just how awful debt is. I don't know how I'm just figuring this out at the age of 42, but I guess it's better late than never. And sort of woke up to the credit card debt that I have and everything, and realized that it's a major blocker in actually building anything of value in this life. So part of the reason I sold the car is because it was a debt that I could easily discharge. I was financing it. And the other part of it is it was just costing us way too much for what we were getting out of it. Between the car payment and insurance, it was $1,000 a month. It feels kind of silly to look back and realize that I paid that for 2 years. But, better getting out of it late than never. And I'm feeling very happy that I was able to sell it to a dealer without losing any money on it. So I wasn't upside down on the loan. What kind of door lights will you put on the new car? Well, I guess it depends on what car I get. Um, Elise. Oh, shoot! I just said my wife's name. Well, there you go. Name's Elise. She loves to send me little jokey ideas of what the next car might look like. Should we have a look at a few? Here's one she sent me. Oh yeah, let's do it that way. 1994 Honda Acti. It's like a very tiny truck. Look, it's actually kind of adorable, isn't it? I've kind of had this burgeoning fascination of trucks. I kind of would like a truck, but I can't justify it. I don't know. I have no need for a truck. Why would I want a truck? But I do. It might be part of like the Hobbit fantasy of getting out and living in a rural area. Surely, if I live in a rural area, I'll need a truck for something, right? Uh, so we're playing with that fascination, of course. Toolbox in the rear. Ooh, an English service manual. That's nice. I noticed it has a steering wheel on the right side. Very cute. Kai, thank you. They have lots of tiny trucks in Japan and Korea. Runs fine. This is a great ad. I love it. I love it. Newer wheels and tires, including spares. Toolbox in the rear. English service manual. Runs fine. Collector plated. Clean title on hand. All right. Let's see. What else has she sent me as ideas? Here's another one she sent me. Ooh, that's a great picture, isn't it? 89 Honda Prelude. Serious inquiries only, please. I need this thing gone. Oof. I don't know. It's got a sunroof on it. I don't know. What do y'all think of this car? It has charm. It has a squeak coming from the driver's side. Not sure what's needed. It's a project car. Is there a price on it? 3,500. Yeah, this is probably what's going to happen because we're still going to be focusing on paying down debt. Really, for the next, we're going to be assuming I can get back to work in the next 2 or 3 months. We're going to be turbo focused on paying down our high interest debt for the next year, and then after that, pivoting to a mix probably of focusing on low interest debt and building up some liquid stability. But probably I'll have a need to replace the Batmobile, and probably I'll buy something very cheap. Looks like a talking car character from a kid's movie. Yes! I love it! What's the car's name? It does have a lot of personality. I want to call him like Giacomo, something like that. Okay. Here's another one from my dear wife. No, it's been deleted. That's okay. You probably find other pictures. 2004 Honda Element. What? YouTube video? How'd that happen? That's the stream link. Copy. I want to see what it looks like. I guess they sold it, huh? Here's the other one that she sent me. See, I keep telling her that I want like I like a boxy shape to a car, like the way old school trucks used to look, and older muscle cars. I don't want a car that looks excessively curvy. So many modern cars have that really like kind of like domesticated curvy design. It doesn't appeal to me. But you know, if I'm buying something for under $5,000, I'll probably not be choosing something for style. We'll see. We'll see. That one is definitely domesticated. It's so domesticated, isn't it? Even though it's boxy, it's very domesticated feeling. Yeah, I'm not into it. I wonder if I can find a photo of the Challenger I used to drive. Probably have a few. Oh yeah, here it is. No, that's not my Challenger. That's just one that looks like it. Why do I have a picture of someone else's Challenger? You know, I think I saw it in parked somewhere, and I was like, oh my god, it's like a doppelganger for my car. Let's just search car. I'm doing a search of my Google Photos, hoping that it's smart enough to be able to tell me. Return that car on... Well, just before I bought the Batmobile, so that would have been 2023. Do I not have any good pictures of the car? Yeah. Get a Nissan Cube. Nissan Cube. Oh yeah, it looks a lot like the Element. Ugh. Oh my god. What's the deal with this back window in the Nissan Cube? What is the deal with that? Yeah, I can't find a picture of that car. I know I have one somewhere. Oh well. Well, do you guys want to get a preview of a new project that I'm working on? Has that exact shape from the kid's drawing. Isn't that the way the Cybertruck got designed? You should see the reaction my wife has whenever she sees a Cybertruck. She's so something really annoyed and also mischievous in her soul really springs forth. She keeps calling them refrigerators. I think we should get some magnets she can surreptitiously stick on them when she sees one in the parking lot. I'd imagine a magnet would stick to the side of a Cybertruck. All right, well, no one said they wanted to see my new project, but I want to show it to you guys anyway. Well, Henry, there's the yes. There's the yes I was fishing for. Well, I'll give a little backstory first, as is my... You know, let me I'm gonna pop into the bathroom first, and then I will tell then show. Be right back. You know, sometimes I'm astonished by the amount that my bladder can contain. Can y'all hear the music? Probably not a big deal, more of a technical question. No. Oh, it's because I changed the capture from away from window. Anyway, so a little backstory. I recorded a video last week that got published on Monday called "An Engine of Change," which was a reaction to a conversation I had with my pastor, who made a comment about how there's something about me where when I recognize a need for change, I don't wait. I go to the change, whatever that need is. It's quite a nice compliment to receive. I'll be honest. And today and this week, I was going out doing my walk and doing what I usually do. Like, okay, I think I might have a little bit of time to think about recording a little walk and talk and what I want to talk about. And I recorded something, um, kind of about sort of about my new morning routine that I've been enjoying and what I love about it. And after I recorded it, I had this feeling like, this needs to change. And I'll tell you what informed that impression. You know, uh, 3 years ago, when I was between jobs previously, and I invested in the channel, and I started doing some videos of stuff that I thought maybe would be helpful to people, like the videos on ADHD, the videos on weight loss. I did those because I was trying to figure out what I could build here, and some of those videos did not do very well um, off the jump, but because the content is sort of evergreen, like it has a certain staying power over time. Those videos that didn't do very well when they came out have done okay in the long term. One example of a video that I did, and this is one of the less like this is one of the less what do you call it, like scripted videos, um, and it was sort of on the way towards doing these walk and talks that I've been enjoying. Was the one called "Quitting Video Games 1 Year Later," and I realized that video had like 1,000 views on it. Now, 1,000 views is not a lot, but it's a lot for my channel. And I remember that video didn't do gangbusters out the gate, but that means that there's something about that topic of quitting video games and the desire to see the story unfold from it that continues to bring people in and have utility. And that points towards, potential future that I'd love to get to, where there's something that we're doing here that is really successful and brings in and helps and brings in a broader, more meaningful participation in the world and representing it here in this space, kind of lovingly holding space for it. Uh, Very vaguely stated, Greg. Anyway, we move on. And so I thought to myself, oh yeah, these walk and talks. What's good about them is that they're easy for me to do. They don't take a lot of planning or effort. They feel good to do. They're good ways to sort of formalize with words feelings that I'm having, but they end up being really about me and the feeling that I'm having. And the content that I think I've done that has the most lasting value is content where I've taken something that is within myself and presented it in a way that is more useful and relevant outside of myself. So if I make it about the thing that can be received, if I make it about the gift instead of about the giver, walk and talks, love a good walk and talk. And so I was thinking, what can I do to change this for the better into something that actually is more useful to folks? And so I'm going to be going back and doing returning to a format of video where I'm sitting down and talking to my camera like this. And I just recorded one today that's going to get published on Monday. I'll be curious what y'all think about it. Here's my notes on it that I'll share. Yeah, I guess these are them here. Yeah. One called Testosterone 4YL. It's just kind of a simple idea because I got a comment on the video that I did about, did testosterone cure my ADHD? And someone was like, hey man, I have a question. Also, it's been like 3 years since you recorded this. How's it been going? I was like, oh yeah, that's something that might interest people. So I sat down and asked myself, if I wanted to record something that was my experience on testosterone after 4 years, what could I tell people? And so it's a video that I hope has more value, more relevance, and also something that will lay a foundation for me as I go out and try to invite more people into my story and find the kind of ways that it can be helpful to folks, and to find out what I can be and do here. That all came out very vaguely. I apologize. But yeah, just a video kind of recapping my experience on testosterone treatment. I think it was perfectly clear. Thank you, Henry. And I'm not sure if I'm going to keep doing the walk and talks. Actually, I'd be curious what y'all's honest opinion is of the walk and talks. Like, if they went away, would you miss them? Yeah, I guess that's the question. Henry would get over it. I have a feeling that what we're doing here on the stream, once I figure out how to repurpose the conversations we're having for clip content, which should be easy for me to do, I just haven't put the time into it yet. I have a feeling that this is going to be more interesting to people than the walk and talks. It may be that I continue to do both. Maybe we'll try the new thing and keep the walk and talks going. But there's something about the walk and talks that is sort of they feel a little selfish, and I'm I think that I heard a great encapsulation of sort of mastery recently, and what it I can't remember what it was from. Um, and what it did was it said very simply that there are three things to master anything. You observe it, you do it, and you teach it. That's it. And I have been doing something really real. I think probably to some people and in many ways worth remarking on. And I think I'm getting to a point where maybe I could teach it and share it. I'm trying to find out how to do that. Lex says both is good. Kyle, you like the poetic aspect of them? Okay. Well, one of the things I want to keep doing is I want to keep showing love to more poetic explorations because I love that stuff. Um, Henry, I know you read my Substack, but have any of y'all had a look at my Substack newsletter? I would also just love if y'all have any candid opinions about the stuff that I'm doing there. Let me pull up a little visual aid for us. Yeah, like everything we've done in this last little bit. It's pretty much just been these walk and talks. Bring it out. I like that thumbnail. Kai, you read the newsletter in your email. Henry, even if it feels self-centered to talk about your own stuff, you think there's a lot of value in thinking about the nuances of the process. Okay. Kai, you'd miss them if I continued putting the same amount of effort in. You'd miss them if I continued putting the same amount of effort in. You really like them. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I guess the thing about the walk and talks, they might be more of like just thinking about this. They might be more for like how can I describe this? They might be more for the choir than for the congregation. You know? If I'm preaching to the choir, I think that I need to make better content for the congregation, but we can keep this content for the choir. Kai, you do like the sounds of the videos too, like the birds in the wind. Oh, I love the yeah, I love the exposure too. You know, we're gonna be moving in about 5 weeks, and the outdoors that I will have access to will change. One of the complexities for doing the walk and talks is that the area that I'm living in, there's a lot of like people out enjoying nature, and it's kind of weird and awkward to try to record an intimate exploration in a public natural space. And I think that the place I'm moving to, I'll be able to. There are these beautiful walking trails that I think I'll probably be able to use to do some of those walk and talks in a more repeatable way. I'm glad we're talking about this because I was really thinking about pulling back on the walk and talks altogether. As I've just been feeling, I guess I've been feeling like they haven't moved the needle for, they haven't moved the needle. How can I impart the sentiment? I guess I'm just not sure if they've helped anyone. Henry, your stream lags slightly every time I touch my mic. Oh, weird. Okay, I'll try to be more careful about it. Let me tighten it up for a second. You know, I think I'm gonna maybe make a couple of investments in the mic setup after we move. But let's see if we can do a quick tweak. Okay, we're secured. Making some schizo connections. You're just associating without limit, Henry. Living beyond reason. Okay, so we're not going to can the walk and talks. Glad we talked about it. Kai, you said you get the newsletter in your email. I'm glad folks are getting that in the email. The thing I like about the Substack app and people who use it is I actually know that engagement is happening. When people read the email, I don't necessarily know that it's being read, or I don't feel that it's being read. But almost every single week, my mom will send me a sweet note after I write stuff. The joke I like to make sometimes is I make videos and articles for about a dozen gaming friends and mine and my wife's mom. I'm my biggest fans. Henry. Oh, sorry, I was just scrolled up. I thought you typed something new. But yeah, the Substack, and here we're making content about content. I'm sorry. Ouroboros here eating my own tail. The Substack, I actually really am liking the place I've gotten to with it, where I found this format that feels kind of repeatable and accessible to me, but still goes into something I really like. I'm actually really proud of this article. It's beyond reason. This is a result of me sitting down and being like, if I could really interrogate my guts and ask how it was that I built this way that I think and feel over the last half decade, how would I lay the path? And this is just one of those things. Because the entire way that I perceive has changed. So Lex, when are you making your next walk and talk video, brother? Also, if I were to bring back the podcast, who would I interview? You have any ideas about that? Wife's home. Kai, nature adds something to Lex's walk and talks too, like when the bugs attack him. Lex, did you know there was a Reddit thread about you recently? I don't even know if you're still watching. Well, someone posted a Reddit thread about Lex. As you can imagine, only nice things were said. It being the PlanetSide subreddit. And this is also just proof that I'm still checking gaming subreddits for games that I haven't played in years. Restream doesn't really tell me how many folks are watching the stream. I might need to find a better way to understand what's going on atomically with both YouTube and Twitch when I'm streaming. I don't have so many things to pay attention to, but I think there might be an opportunity. Let's see, on Twitch, got a handful of folks. Kai, I see that you cashed in some Deeg bucks to ban the word actually on the stream last week. I totally forgot about that stuff. I wonder how the YouTube is doing. You also banned Light Assault. Very sad. Whenever I go back and watch my old streams and watch myself bouncing around on Light Assault, I get so tempted I get so tempted to log back in. Light Assault, mwah, mwah. I know folks dog on Rel, and there probably is some truth in he inflated the design space of the class, but man, it was fun. Man, it was fun. What was I trying to pull up? Oh, the Lex thread. Here it is. You probably can't even see this. I need to find a better way to, like, show y'all stuff. What if I did... screen capture? Window capture. We'll do whatever happened to Lex. But we want this to look like that. And we want this. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Is this some humongous screen? It's a 34-inch ultra wide. I bought it because I had a different medical emergency last holiday season where I woke up one day and I was dizzy. And I don't know, I dealt with this weird problem where the left side of my body felt off balance all the time. And one of the things that made it worse was having multiple screens. And I had a 4-screen setup, a quad screen setup. So I got rid of it and replaced it with one big monitor. So yeah, there's a medical treatment, basically. There's no good place to put the inset here, is there? I guess I could put it like up here and pull the chat down a little bit, right? No, we don't want to make it smaller. We just want to... how do I crop? I don't know. We'll just put chat in the background. Hold control to crop. I just tried that. I'm on a Mac, so it works a little different. Anyway, I just wanted to shine a light on what happened to Lex. Whatever happened to Lex? Does anyone know? Has anyone seen Lex? Lex the Higby simp? Look at that guy. That man's got a message. Let's, do I still have that sidebar hider add-on? I guess I don't. It's the Clint Eastwood meme. He hasn't posted in over 11 months. Did he quit the game? He was repeatedly cited as the community member with the most quote-unquote good takes. And his YouTube was repeatedly linked whenever people wanted to voice criticism of the games or developers. I watched a few of his videos. He seemed chronically mad, with a fixation on hating Rel especially. He was the voice for all the salty vets, the critic everyone went to whenever a bad patch dropped, the farmer of quote-unquote shitters, and the embodiment of what everyone hated about this game. But at last, he seems to have finally burned out. I've also noticed his Twitter and Reddit accounts have been deleted, with some videos even privated. What happened? What happened? Yeah, did he die? Why isn't he playing the same game 13 years later? It's a mystery. I think there's not a single knowledgeable answer in all of this. Everyone's moved on. I mean, it's true. He probably had a final crash out and gave up, at least on this game. Or maybe he realized the unhealthy effect this game was having on his life and made a change. Any truth in that, Lex? I think Lex is playing Battlefield or something instead of hanging out with us. Something unsettling about a grown man willing to record himself in his backyard, ranting about a video game from memory for 20 plus minutes straight. All his videos are just so angry. That's something beautiful about a grown man willing to record himself in his backyard. It's not unsettling, it's gorgeous. Retreat into nature. No point. His videos are still up. This guy is a Lex apologist. He likes Lex, or at least he understands him. This thread is such a nothing burger. It's kind of sad. Can't there be more juice to squeeze? I joined his Twitch stream a long time ago until he banned me. Lex's sock puppet account. Could you imagine Lex sock puppeting, talking about himself? I actually cannot imagine that. Probably playing other video games would be my guess. That is the right answer. I thought this would be more fun, but it's really not. Oh, here we go. I'd hit it. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Hunk did his part. Oops, I have the chat turned off here. It's been off all stream, hasn't it? Oh well. Think better next time. All right. What kind of production is this anyway? What kind of shoestring operation are we working with? What should you change your Twitch username to? You want to remove the PS2, but you don't know what to add? How about Kai Guy? Why Kai? I mean, do you want to keep Kai? I don't know if there are any other names that you go by. Kai BF6. You can make it like a geographical thing. Like a nod to being an Aussie. And you want to keep Guy since the only streamer you watch is me, and that keeps you identifiable. You know, I appreciate that, Kai. I've been saying that culturally we need to encourage the use of name tags. This is something that we figured out online because no one can do anything without having their name attached to it. But in the real world, people just walk around and you just see a face and a body, and you're like, what is this thing called? And you introduce yourself to them over coffee, and then you see them again 3 weeks later, and everyone acts like you're supposed to remember each other's name. No one does. Everyone's awkward. You should just wear name tags. You should just wear name tags. You know, the barbershop world has this figured out. Barbershop music, a cappella, international sort of the hierarchy of people singing on street corners. You join a barbershop community, a chapter, they give you a name badge. And whenever you go to events, you wear your name badge. It's like, oh, it's Henry. Oh, it's Kai. So that's a little name tag rant for you. It's also just your name and you like your name. That's solid, man. What's the minimum length for a Twitch handle? It annoys you so much. In Deadlock, all the top players keep changing their name to meme things. When you watch pro streams, you can't tell who is who in the lobby. Oh man, I remember that with old lobby shooters, where actually when I was playing Team Fortress Classic, this drove me up the wall. One of the ways people would kind of have fun is they'd change their names to suit some kind of a theme. Like, oh, we're all going to be Simpsons characters, or oh, we're all going to be politicians we hate, or I don't know, whatever. And it's like, okay, like you had some fun, but I don't, we don't know who we're dealing with. Like, we aren't making the connection between the experience and the identity, and you're robbing us of something because we can't associate you with your actions. XR goggles with a name tag and a health bar over everyone's head. Disturbing. All right, friends. It's time for me to call it a night. We'll be back for sure next week on Thursday. I'll be trying to start the stream sharply by 4 p.m. Pacific my time. That's the same thing as 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US. I hope those data points are sufficient for you to figure out what time that is in your land. Homework is to come up with usernames for you. Okay, I'll come back with a few ideas. We can do that. We can explore that. We can turn that rock over. Look for the new video idea coming out on Monday. The one about how it's been, how testosterone changed me and what it's like 4 years later. I'll probably publish the walk and talk. I might not do that on the same day. I don't know. Maybe I'll make it a members only perk. Would that annoy the crap out of you guys? It probably would, huh? I'll think about that. And I have to write my Substack article. I actually haven't even started that, so I'm behind the clock. But that'll get done. And between now and next week, I don't know. What life's going to be like for me is I have some singing to do on the weekend. That'll be a joy. And continuing the job search and exploring what's next. And also starting to dial in the particulars on moving house, which is happening in just a month. Same time as today, a week from now. Yeah, should be about right, Henry. So, what time is it in Helsinki? Let's just do the math. Okay, so it's 5 a.m. your time. Wrapping up here at 7 p.m. my time. So the goal for next week will be to start 3 hours before now. So starting at around 2 a.m. your time, 4 p.m. my time. Groovy. All right, friends. Be good to yourself and each other. God bless. And I'll see everybody next week.